Hey everybody, Chris Perovic here doing a quick deck profile of Desmond Johnson's Karakuri deck that he used in our 4th Dueling Network tournament. For those of you that don't know, Desmond got 4th place at YCS Miami with a similar build. However, afterwards, he decided to enter our YGOverdose Tournament, which was this new format event, and he tailored his deck to the new meta by dropping a Solemn Warning and adding some other choices. And he did not top 8. However, he did bubble. I still thought his deck was worth sharing. Jesse Erickson took a copy of this deck, or a similar version of this deck, to top 8 after starting the tournament 6-0, falling asleep, not making his round 7 match, and still making top 8, and then losing in top 8. So the deck definitely has something to it, and I'd like to talk about it for a little bit. So to start, I'll say that Karakuris have, since their release, been one of my favorite deck types ever. Back then, I think Jeff Jones was the first one to combine them with plants to do some stuff with it. Afterwards, myself, Anthony Alvarado, and Jeff Jones again made a sort of control build when we pioneered the use of Gen X Neutron. And afterwards, they haven't really been heard much from. Around that time back then, people were using cyber dragons and machine duplications and the level 5 Karakuri guy in their own Karakuri builds to try to combo off, because Karakuris have always been known for their ability to combo off. Just how you went about it could make the difference, really. And while I was always a fan of the control build with the dualities and the Gen X neutrons and whatnot, other people found different degrees of success with combo builds, and here Desmond has come back and reinvented the combo Karakuri deck with the advent of Solar Windjammer and Desynchro. Desynchro is not new, but Solar Windjammer is. Solar Windjammer, for those that don't know, is like a cyber dragon that doesn't require your opponent to have a monster on his side of the field for you to special summon. You could just special summon, so you can combo off in your first turn. And Desynchro, if you're not immediately aware of its usefulness here, it can, for example, even if you're just making a burrito, say with a Solar Windjammer and an Inishi or a Strategist or a Psychic Commander, as you were, you can then use Desynchro. Then burrito would special summon like a Karakuri from your deck, but then you could Desynchro and then remake burrito, and then bring out another card to combo off with the first card that the first burrito searched out. So now you have two guys, and you can make whatever off of that. You can make another, depending on what you bring out or what other cards you have. You might be able to make a second burrito. You might be able to make a beret. You could bring out Landois or Naturia Beast or Stardust Dragon or what have you, whatever you need to improve your situation. And so this card is, it's almost like just like a free plus, depending on how and when you play it. You could also use Instant Fusion, by the way, to be your level 5 guy. He uses Cyber Source for that. And yeah, so let's talk about some differences. There aren't many differences between this deck and his YCS Miami deck. He used, in lieu of a second Decree and second Warning, he opted to use Night Beam and whoa. Actually, I couldn't tell you what the second card he used is. The rest looks pretty much the same, but I don't have his other deck list open. I could have sworn he played 2 Decree and 2 Warning, though. So... oh, I'm stupid. Compulse, my bad. Okay, so Compulse and Night Beam came in place of Decree and Warning. I'm not a fan of Compulse. I don't think it's an adequate replacement for Warning. I can understand the Night Beam because of Abyss Spheres and whatnot. So I mean, maybe, you know, I'm not entirely sold on that, but and I also recognize that Decree can be great against Fire Fists. However, I mean, they also have Gorilla, so I mean, it could go either way. I'm not sure how I would do this personally. I might go maybe more Night Beams or something. I'm not really sure, really. I'd have to think about this, but I don't. All I know is I don't really like the compose. I also don't really like anatomy. Now I know Desmond's a big fan of anatomy. I know many players have been fans of anatomy and Cash. In fact, my own teammates and people that have worked with me on other builds, Karakuri builds, have been fans. I'm not a fan. I think if I were to do this, I would try to go about it a slightly different way. I feel like those are kind of like maybe win more cards where once you're already comboing off, they can help you even more so, like win even more so, but they're not going to help you combo off to begin with. So I'm not really sure that I would use that. I do recognize though that the rest of the build, desynchros, instant fusions, emergency teleports, and whatnot, and solar windjammer, these are great cards, and they can easily tear your opponent apart really quickly. And I really like this deck for that reason. That's why I'm doing this deck profile. The only besides the anatomies, the cash, and some card selections over here, the other thing I'm not so sold on, it's not because I have an opinion on it really, is that he uses the two really recruiter guys in one quick, and I mean really you don't ever resolve these. Maybe you resolve Quick's effect. I don't, and maybe sometimes you resolve the recruiter's effect. I'm not going to say you don't. I know for a fact that you do sometimes, but the main reason you really run them is just because they're level 4s, and you use them to combo off with your other cards to make the synchros that you want to make. That being said, I don't know that 2 and 1 is the right number. It could be that 2 and 1 the other way is the right number. It could be that 2 and 2 is the right number. I'm not sure what the right number is. I do see though that between both decks, he's decided to use 2 recruiters and 1 quick. So maybe that's telling of something. All I would say is to anyone testing this out is that these are the places that I'm mentioning right now are the places where you might want to experiment with your own card choices. Separately, I guess let's go down to the side deck and extra deck. Not so much to go into detail, but just to review why I guess he made these card choices. Cyber Dragon, I don't think he would really say, like, I think that's more for if he's going second. If he knows he's going second, and maybe Cyber Dragon is just a better card, or maybe if his opponent is playing Thunder Kings, for example, like that's a better card to have than Solar Windjammer. Effect Veilers and Max Seas, I think Max Seas are for waters. Maybe he side decks the Veilers for Fire Fists, maybe. Because once you have, like, for example, a Naturia Beast, there's not much they can do if you have a Veiler. Night Beams and Mystical Space Typhoon, depending on the deck, I think it's pretty obvious that could be appropriate. Soul Drains for Waters and Dark World. The Second Decree and Goes in Match. I mean, none of these are really, like, offbeat side deck choices. I think going into this new format, you want to experiment with different cards. So, you want to experiment with different deck types. So you don't know, or that players will experiment with different deck types. So you don't have a good sense of what the field will be yet. So you want to side things that will work in a vast majority of situations, particularly the ones that could be problematic for you. So, for example, if your opponent, that he's using Thunder Kings or some Doom Caliber Knights, something that might be a problem for you, then maybe Cyber Dragons or something that you might want to side in. I'm not saying that he thought that people were going to use Doom Caliber Knights, but I would look at the problems for this deck, of which there aren't many, and maybe try just siding for those instead of trying to improve your particular matchups. That's one thing I did notice about this deck that I did like about this deck, as opposed to what many players do with Fire Fists. He does not side deck, for example, 3D Fissures and 3 Soul Drains, right? Like, he doesn't OD on that. He says, I've got a combo. I'm going to work towards my combo. I'm going to try to make a burrito. I'm going to try to remake my burrito with Desynchro. And I'm going to put out a big board and draw so many cards. And if you can stop me, best of luck to you. But I don't think you're going to be able to if I have a Landois and Naturia Beast. That's, I think, what the strategy behind this deck is. And when you side too many cards, it could really mess up the flow of your deck. So I really appreciated that. It seems, generally speaking, he didn't want to side deck more than 2-3 tops against any particular deck. I've always been a big fan of that. Going to his extra deck, I think only 2 Cybersaurus are necessary. You're rarely ever going to go through all 3 instant fusions. And if you do, you're probably going to hit the pot before then. 2 Catasters. Catasters are a great card this format. 3 Burrito, 3 Beret. Then Genturias and the 2 important level 8 Synchros. And 1 Zen mains, because you have so many ways to bring out, between the Nishis and the Teleports, to bring out 2 level 3s. And Zen mains can be just such a clutch card sometimes, especially against Fire Fist, for example. So you want to have that. I don't have any particular disagreements over his extra deck at the moment. I'm not sure if Landois is the right card. I know it's a great card. I'm not saying it's a bad card. But I mean, when I look at that, for example, in the second Cataster, I'm thinking, man, I'm losing my ability to Black Rose, which I can do so easily, which can be really effective against a deck like Fire. In fact, there's a lot of decks where Black Rose can be really good against. So I don't know. I don't know exactly if this would be my extra deck. I'm not going to touch it, though. I'll say it's fine as is. Obviously, it's fine as is. I think this guy knows what he's doing. But that's that. Anyway, I like this deck. I think Desmond Johnson's going to be someone we're going to have to look forward to great things in the coming months. And that's all. Best of luck to him. For the rest of you, take care. Be well.